Hey guys, Micah from blackbearcustomkydex. I have a couple of sheaths to show you from Tops, or for Tops knives, and they're two different projects for two different customers, but I figured I would just lump them in one video because there's not a ton to show on either of them. So we'll start with the smaller one. So this is a Tops Cockpit Commander. Cool little EDC self-defense knife. It's got that nice big finger ring in there. I presume they made it that size so that even if you're wearing gloves you could still get a good purchase on the knife. Anyway, this one is going to Brian out in Wana, Washington, and Brian had asked me if I could make a left-handed IWB sheath that he'd be able to get a full grip on the knife before drawing it. So I've done that here, and it's maybe not quite what you'd be expecting. I definitely took a little bit of a unique approach to it, but it definitely works. And I'm going to show you probably one of the stranger sheaths you've ever seen. So this guy here obviously has that giant half circle cut out so that you can get your finger into the ring, but the reason that it's not cut out on the other side is because I thought about it, and if you were going to put this inside the waistband, you might have your undershorts or your undershirt or whatever get into that finger ring area and kind of get stuck in there as you're trying to wedge your knife back into the sheath. So I figured that would actually prevent that, hopefully. And what I have done is, you can see this this giant outcrop here. What I put that there as sort of just a recess so that you could get your finger a little deeper in there, so it wouldn't just be flush with the back side of the ring. So you can get your finger pretty good in there, and even though the thumb ramp is kind of at an angle and spiraling, you can definitely still pretty comfortably remove it. It's not a ballistic draw. Part of the reason is because I'm only molding, the retention is just ever so slightly here on the handle, but the majority of it actually comes from inside that ring. I'm not sure how well you can see it on camera, but yeah, I guess in that light you can see how I've molded pretty deep into the circle there, and just a little bit behind the finger choil here as well. So you get just enough retention to lock it in place. There's not much rattle or play. Well, I would say there's probably zero. You can manually kind of get it to move a little bit if you physically both hands, but for the most part it's really solid in place. And as far as the drill holes go on it, you can match up any hole with at least one other hole compatible with this lock, or with this IWB clip. The reason why I've got it all the way down here is because if you look at the top of the clip, ostensibly that's where your belt is going to be traveling across, and I wanted to make sure that that finger hole was still above the belt line. So that's just how I would carry it. Obviously Brian can adjust it, use it however he'd like to, but let's check this out. Alright, so I've got that in there. Conceals exceptionally well. Even with the shirt sucked down over it, you can just barely see that there's something there. Right? Just a little tiny printing. So it's going to conceal very well, and then when you need it, you can actually get that finger hole right there and just rip your knife out. So I'm very happy with how that came out. I think that's going to be a nice concealed EDC sheath. So anyway, he asked for that in Cryptek Mandrake, and yeah, this will be shipping off to him tomorrow. So alright, the next one that I have for you is for Lance in Elotes, Texas. And Lance sent me his, it's a very unique knife. I've never seen this thing before, but this is a Tops Wild Pig Hunter. It's a pretty cool blade. Very, very strange, but pretty cool. It is one of the more, I would say it's one of the more aggressive, I'm not sure what the word would be, but you know, as far as ability, capacity to absolutely impale something, this is one of the best designed knives. Sorry, I'm struggling to English right now. Anyway, Lance asked me for a sheath in black carbon fiber with Cryptek Typhon accents and attachments, and so here's what we got here. He sent me the Lansky LCD02 tactical sharpening rod. This thing, if you haven't checked it out, it's got, you unscrew this and you can extend a diamond hone right there. And then on this side you've got a couple of crossed blades there for coarse sharpening. So it's a nice little compact, well, not so compact, but it's a nice system. It's got a lot of heft to it, but it feels rugged and very durable. Alright, so anyway, we got that. This is a two-way draw. You can holster it in either direction. I personally like it to go this way, and I think for the obvious reason that it's going to stop her this way. So if you're carrying it vertically as a dangler, you're not going to have to worry about losing it. It is a tiny bit loose in there, so you can see I can get it to come out that way. So maybe I'll tighten it down just a tiny bit more, but it's really intended to be carried this way for safety's sake. And then he also sent me this ferro rod and just a standard setup on shot cord. Now you might be asking, why in the world do I have this on the back of the sheath? That's a good question. So obviously you see it's set up as a leather dangler, but he also asked me to set up the drill hole spacing for horizontal, for specifically right hand scout carry. So what he's going to have to do if he wants to carry this scout is, I don't know, he might want to just like take the dangler off altogether for comfort, but usually right hand scout looks more like a left hand setup and vice versa. And the reason is because as you're carrying it on your right side, when you switch to right hand scout, the face of the sheath then all of a sudden becomes the body side of the sheath. So that is why I put this on the back of it as it's a dangler. So if it were the other way around, it would just be in the small of your back. I don't think that'd be very comfortable, and you know, God forbid if you fell on top of it, that would probably actually be very dangerous, you know, right on your spine or something. I just didn't want to leave that to chance there. So anyway, that's what we got. Looking pretty good. You can see I've stamped his initials LM in there. Got the logo on the dangler. Looking fresh. And the draw, very good one-handed draw. Definitely not ballistic, but one-handed. That's very difficult to get. You know, in general, if you have a knife that has any kind of contour above the handle, above the spine of the blade, then you're going to wind up with some issues when you're molding the sheath. So, you know, it depends on what kind of sheath you want. I tend to go with taco style. I know it looks maybe a little bit strange to have a folded side here, you know, away from the blade. You can see a clear gap between the blade and the fold of the sheath. This is actually still stronger than two pieces of Kydex riveted together in a pancake style. So taco style is always my go-to unless the customer specifically asks me to do pancake, just for strength reasons. Got a good click going back in, no rattle, no play. That's the D-ring you hear. But and then as far as a thumb push off, all I did was I sort of just lightly flared out the opening so that there'd be plenty of clearance for that hand guard, and so that it would be somewhat comfortable on your thumb. And what I recommend is, if you start to draw out slowly, there's actually some contour on the handle. If you check out the handle is actually really interesting. So it's pretty square. There's not a lot to grip onto as far as the actual ricasso here, but there are these grooves that kind of, you know, you can clearly see them from eagle eye view of the spine here. And so I've actually used that to my advantage to mold. However, because there's multiples, you hear that double click. So if you pop it just out the first one, the sheath can actually stay on there. It'll, you know, hang on by a thread there, but it can stay on there. So what I recommend to get a good one-handed draw, sort of just put your thumb about halfway up onto that spine and just give it a quicker push. If you give it a quick push, it'll pop right off. Alright, so that's what we got, guys. Sorry for rambling so much. My mind is not present entirely here. So, alright guys, if you like these sheaths, if you like this video, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and comment down below. Let me know what you think of these things. Share with your buddies, and stick around for the next one. Thanks for tuning in, guys. God bless.